there are 6 knowledge hubs that have been founded so far by COP, and one of these is the knowledge hub on water pipe smoking. And because of what AUB contribution to this field, it was only logical and the most reasonable decision is to seek AUB as a site for this knowledge hub. And that's why there has been a memorandum of understanding signed by the head of the Secretariat of FCTC and the president of AUB in order to establish a knowledge hub on campus that will serve this global objective, and will be working closely with the WHO in achieving the objectives of curbing the tobacco use globally.
The first study that we did, we published it in 2003 out of AUB, and we were shocked. We found that there were heavy metals like arsenic and chromium and lead in the water pipe smoke at much higher levels than you find in cigarette smoke, hundreds of times higher. Charcoal itself is full of a carcinogen known as polyaromatic hydrocarbons. And those are the main things that cause lung cancer. And charcoal is also the main source of carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is a odorless, colorless toxicant that you breathe in, and it harms your heart, essentially. Every puff of narghile displaces more smoke than an entire cigarette. So in terms of the sheer amount of particles that you load your lungs with when you're smoking narghile, it's beyond comparison with what you get with a cigarette. It turns out that secondhand smoke from narghile is actually worse per hour of use. So if you have 2 people sitting side by side, one is smoking a cigarette and one is smoking an narghile, which one should you remove? That's kind of how we constructed the study. And it turns out that if you remove the narghile smoker, it's something similar to removing 10 cigarette smokers during that 1 hour use period. Now there's another concern, which is called third-hand smoke. Smoke particles get absorbed into the furniture, into the carpet, into the walls. And those walls and carpet and furniture give off toxicants over time, and they give off toxicants that have reacted chemically. Chemicals that weren't originally in the smoke, but that appear later. And some of those are even more toxic than the original material that was in the second-hand smoke or in the first-hand smoke. But there's a strong complex of experiences that people have when they smoke narghile. Part of it is the smoke, part of it is the sound, part of it is the feel of the drumming of the water. And introducing fruits and other kinds of shapes of narghile in the market, plays on that. And it also kind of plays on a notion that it might be healthier.
Countries that have ratified the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control need to work together to come up with a comprehensive regulatory framework that addresses and tackles water pipe tobacco smoking. This will only be accomplished through having researchers throughout the world work together to evaluate water pipe specific policies. Especially that this mode of smoking is growing not only in the Middle East region, but it's also expanding around the world. It's not enough to increase the knowledge of people about the health effects, the negative health effects of water pipe. It's also very important for that mode of smoking to be regulated through policy.
Tobacco companies spend about $9 billion a year marketing their products in the United States alone. The total budget for tobacco control in the whole world is $350 million. So there are many concerns about it.
Tobacco control is multifaceted. It has to be tackled at multiple levels. Obviously, education and increasing awareness is only one aspect of it. The other aspect is the regulation. And that's why it is important for governments to include addressing the water pipe as part of their national tobacco control measures. People know that water pipe use is harmful, but the time has come to take it into the next step to make them more informed users. But at the same time, we need to take it to other factors, to other players, to widen the scope of it in order to bring all concerned parties to be working together in order to meet the objective of more effective water pipe smoking control. Watching the current rampant and uncontrolled practices of water pipe use by young women and men in our societies is no longer acceptable. Staying as bystanders while the tobacco industry claims their health and lives deserves collective and decisive action, and the time for that has now arrived.